Priority and preemption play a very important role with HSRP. The device with the higher priority becomes the active forwarder. However, this is only 100% accurate if preemption is enabled as well, because what preemption says is, I have the higher priority, therefore I am taking over the active role. So if preemption is not enabled, it doesn't matter if you have the highest priority, you will not be taking over that active role. So if we look at DSW1 right now, look at the output of show standby. When we look at the output of show standby, we can currently see that DSW1 is the active forwarder and its current priority is 100. It says preemption is disabled. Let's analyze DSW2. Show standby. It is currently in the standby state for group 10. Preemption is disabled and it has a priority of 100 as well. So I want to force DSW2 in this example to become the active forwarder for group 10. So let's change the priority. We'll go into interface configuration mode for VLAN 10. We'll type in standby. Don't forget the group number, or defaults to group 0. So standby 10. And we'll say priority is going to be 150. So we now have the higher priority. Do show standby. But are we the active forwarder? No, we're still standby. And the reason why is because preemption is disabled. So since preemption is disabled, DSW2 will not take over the active role from DSW1. But if we want DSW2 to overthrow DSW1, how can we accomplish that? We'll type in standby 10 preempt. Standby 10 preempt. So now we are enabling preemption. Let's give it a few moments and look at that. It becomes the active forwarder because it has the higher priority. If you look at DSW1, it's now in the speak state, trying to figure out if there's a device currently acting as standby. And when it realizes there's a device that is not acting as standby, it promotes itself to the standby state. So preemption is important. And there's no reason to not have preemption enabled. I can't come up with a good reason to tell you to leave it off. But I can come up with great reasons to tell you why you should enable it. Number one, it gives you complete control as to who will be the active forwarder. You can control that. You will make sure that no matter what happens, if DSW2 is currently up and running, it will be the active forwarder because it has the higher priority and it has preemption enabled. On top of that, if you want to implement features such as interface tracking or object tracking, you will be manipulating dynamically the priority based on the status of interfaces or an IP SLA instance. And as a result, when things are great, you want that particular router to be the forwarder. So therefore, you need preemption on. You need the higher priorities. So right there, I've given you two really great reasons why preemption should be on, and I can't give you any as to why it should be off. But it's off by default. It's the way it was designed. So it's up to you to turn it on. It's up to you to turn it on. Let's clean this up though. I want DSW1 to be the active forwarder. I want it to be the active forwarder. So I'm going to give it a higher priority than DSW2. Configure terminal, interface VLAN 10. Let's type in standby 10. We'll give it a priority of, well, we gave 150 to DSW2, so let's give it a priority of 200. So we'll let that cook, and it should become the active forwarder. But it's not. It's not. Do show standby. Our priority, it says, is currently 200, and the current active router has a priority of 150. So why am I not the active forwarder? I hope you're saying, Raymond, preemption's disabled. That's right. So turn it on every single device that is part of that group. That way there you can specifically control who is that active forwarder. So standby 10, preempt, and we should take over the active role very quickly.